Zurück mit
I've loved watching it and just seeing how it's growing. And I listen to a lot of them. It's kind of my bedtime rituals podcasts, and you're definitely in the mix. So it's really, really neat.
A lot of people said it puts them to sleep, and I'm like, oh, that's all right. Like, that's cool. They're like, no, you have a soothing sound. I was just editing my brother. Like, I had my brother on because I had just questions about like a case, like a police case going on, the Nancy Guthrie missing case. And so I'm like, I'm going to talk to my brother because he was a former detective and ask him. But like, I've never recorded my brother before. And so like, I was telling him, like, I kept falling asleep. I've never fallen asleep in a chair working at a computer until like I was editing my brother's sound. And I just fall asleep all the time because he was so soothing. And I was like, I told him, I'm like, you should just have a podcast all the time and just read stuff for people to fall asleep to. And he's like, so I was boring. No, you're not boring at all.
He needs a bedtime podcast. So what city are you in? I want to catch up. Like where are you right now?
I'm in Bangkok. The last time I saw you was probably like 2008 in person. Like 2008 was probably in person. That's about the same time that we met too. Like, so 2008, no, maybe 2009, I would say is probably the last time I saw you in person. And then I got married. And then me and my husband were coming back and forth, like, because there used to be a direct flight from LA to Bangkok, which is really nice because it was only like 15 hours one way, 19 hours the other way. Now there's no direct flight, so you have to go through China. Like now it's a trek to get to Bangkok. It will take you like a day and a half. It's brutal. Totally brutal. It used to be one of the longest one-way flight, long haul flights. And it was cheap at the time. So I'd come here and I had this place. And so I'd come here with my husband. We'd stay here for like a month, and then we'd go back to LA, and then 3 months we'd come back and stay and go back. I think it was such a good thing. I didn't grow up around grandparents. I had none of that. And seeing my parents with Angus was and these are the only set of grandparents he had left living, right? And it's funny because when I got married, I wasn't one of those persons that like, oh, I want to have a baby. It wasn't a thing in my, like, and it wasn't something I considered. I wasn't against it, but it wasn't something that I considered. There was just too much going on in my life. And that my parents were like, yeah, they had no desire either. They're like, yeah, we're fine with the dog and the cat. My dad used to call the dog his grandson. And so finding out I was pregnant, I was just like,
and how old is your son now?
16. Well, he's going to turn 16 in July. Isn't that crazy? That's amazing. Crazy. That's cool. Like so crazy.
So cool.
And so you would love him, Brian. You guys would get along so good. Like he's like so funny, and he's like so into music.
And he plays music, right?
He does not anymore. Like he did. Like when he was, I think it was like maybe 9, he wanted me to get a guitar. So I went out and I got him a baby Taylor. And I was just like, okay, here's a baby Taylor, leave it for him. And he took some guitar lessons, and then he decided, I love the drums. So then we're just like, oh, nice. And Jake was actually really great at that time because it was we were starting to get into COVID and everybody was locked inside. So Angus had this drum kit. So Jake at the time was just like, he wasn't gigging. So Jake at that time was just making a lot of drum tutorial type videos, right? It's fantastic. So Angus would watch all the time and
watching
do that
Jake
kind of
play,
stuff.
he was learning from the best, from Jake.
Yeah. And Jake, and Jake can do anything. He can drum, like the types of music that Jake can drum to is like fantastic. Because some drummers are just, okay, I'm a jazz drummer, I'm a rock drummer. Jake could do it all. So it was a great time. And then the drum teacher that he had, which was really cool, his name was Sumo. So Shout out to Sumo, wherever you are. He decided like he was going to go to America and try to make it, like just try to make it in a band in America. And it was just like I said, right just as COVID was starting. So he was able to make it there. And then Angus was just like, I don't want to drum anymore. And he was so bummed and he was so sad. So we still have the guitars, we still have the drums. And my mom was like, why don't you sell them? I'm like, cuz just no, you don't sell them. You leave him around. I said, he'll get back to it.
He'll be back. He'll be back.
He'll be back. Totally. Like cuz he was like 13, 14, you're now starting to get into girls, whatever. There was too much occupying him. And I'm like, he'll go back. It's not a problem. But he has such a better music.
What kind of stuff is he into?
Everything. Like, this is why I said you would love him. He is into everything, like everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he's into so much more than me because he's also he likes rap, he likes R&B, he likes hip hop, but like we like listening to Glenn Campbell. Like Southern Nights comes on. Whenever that song comes on, we stop whatever we're doing. And this has been since he was a kid. We stop whatever we're doing and we dance to Southern Nights together. And it's like, how can you not? Like, how could you not? Like, it's such, isn't it? It's like one of the most fantastic songs ever written, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I love old school country.
Is that from your parents? Like was your dad into that?
From my dad. Like, it's crazy because my mom, being Thai, she got really into the Western music as a teen. So she liked the Cars. She liked Blondie. She liked all that stuff. So my mom introduced me to that, which is strange because a lot of people think, if you know my mom, she's a conservative Thai woman, but she like loved music.
Cool.
My dad is Polish American. So he grew up listening to polka, classical music, but he also gave me the big bands. He also introduced me to George Gershwin, Gene Krupa, Benny Goodman. So I feel like I had such a, really, really awesome kind of experience. And then you take Angus and it's like even amplified even more because he's also like into UK music of the same corresponding era. What was good in 60s UK? What was good in 70s UK? Which is so much more than what I'm into. So cool. I mean, he's constantly got music on. So I think that's really cool. Like I think that's really neat.
So cool.
I wanted to, so, I've known you for a long, God, it's been like, what, 18 years, like 18 years.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but.
It's been a long time. Yeah. It's been a long time. But I wanted to bring you on because when I met you, I met you through, it was Marty. Marty was the one that said, hey, let's come out with me. Let's
Martin.
Go. Yeah. Martin's my best friend. He was my emotional support animal, basically. He's great. Because I'm super shy. Like, I'm super shy. I'm not good with talking to people. And so
I can relate to that though, too.
Yeah. So Marty was the person that like got me out of the house. It was like, okay, let's go watch the show. And it was perfect. And so like he used to always bring me out. And then Martin couldn't go out because then, he was with people and I didn't know what to do. Like I was just like, I want to go to shows, but I don't know what to do. And so my mom at the time gave me a digital camera.
You still and then I met up though.
Yeah. And so, I came out because I got the camera and I found that if I had a bunch of cameras on me, people always thought, oh, she's working, and they left me alone. And that became my new thing. And so then it worked twofold because I could go out to shows and not have to bring Martin along. I could go by myself. I would just have cameras. And then it ended up being really cool because I was learning. I met Digger, and Digger. I met Digger at the time. And so me and Digger were like the only two people at the time that had digital cameras. Like this is before iPhones. This is before all that. So it was like usually me and Digger, and he was a Canon person too. And me and Digger took totally different styles. Like he took really cool shots that looked like they could go in magazines, but I like to take shots that were moody. And so I always had these kind of weird shots that I messed with. And it was such a great time though. This is part of also why I liked this podcast, because I could talk about this kind of stuff. It was so collaborative because we weren't competing against each other. he would always sit there and say, "Oh, you should try this and that." And I'd learned so much of photography from Digger. Even though my mom's a professional photographer, taking pictures of music is
Yeah.
totally different. And then at the same time, after I see the shows, I just send all the pictures to the band. Like, here, I took some pictures of your show. And they're like, these are cool. And I'm like, oh, it was, and it just
Oh, they're really
kind of
cool.
worked. It really worked. I'll put the pictures. Yeah, I loved the shot. I think Blackout Party is probably one of the bands I shot the most because I loved all you guys. Like, you guys were just like the
Yeah.
the best people. But before I get into Blackout Party, I want to go pre-Blackout
Sure.
Party. So I want to ask you, because I really
Oh
do want
boy.
to get into Blackout Party,
Sure.
but I really want to, how did it get to there? So where did you grow up?
Yeah.
Did you grow up in San
Where did I
Diego?
grow up?
Yeah.
I'm from the Bay Area, so south of San Francisco. And I
Yeah.
born and raised really
Oh,
in the
that's right. I
Silicon
remember
Valley.
that.
So
Yeah.
right down the street from Google in Mountain View. So I went to Mountain View High School and before MySpace and before the internet. And then I went down to San Diego for school and then just stayed. I, kind of became a beach bum and all those
Yeah.
things and was involved in music and, you know, lightly involved in school, but more involved in music. And that's when I
Yeah.
met, Tim and Tilo and all of those guys in Blackout Party. And I had a stint where I was in Los Angeles for a while. I was in a few different bands that were more like hard rock and things like that. And the eyeliner and that era when it was just,
Yeah. Yeah.
screaming and all those things. It wasn't really, looking back, it's a little embarrassing, but it was a sign of the times. And we had some momentum going on in the
Yeah.
industry. We had like a
Yeah.
demo deal with Atlantic Records and had these things
Yeah.
going on. I was living in like a warehouse in Los Angeles with my bass player and not working, just all music. And when that
Yeah.
kind of fell apart, there wasn't much left. So I just went back to San Diego. And that's kind of when I met Tim Lowman,
Yeah.
at a coffee shop. And then I kind of stripped all that back and I was sick of all of I think what I considered maybe like pretense and the glitz of LA and Hollywood and
Yeah.
like chasing this thing. And I kind of went full into like acoustic music and wanting to just play these quiet songs. It's funny because that then
Yeah.
became Blackout Party again, which was a loud rock band. But for a while, it started as this quiet kind of Americana. Even the name Blackout Party was, we were joking around how if the power goes out, we can still have a party because
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
acoustic. So that was the
Yeah.
origin, not being blackout drunk, which
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
a lot of people interpreted it that way. So that was kind of I guess the story is born in the Bay Area, moved to San Diego, had a stint in Los Angeles and was kind of chasing it, kind of going after the making it type of thing
Yeah.
and did have some momentum going in that area. And then when it kind of blew up, fell apart, back to San Diego and kind of rebuilt it with Blackout Party.
What kinds of music were you surrounded by when you were growing up, like as a child? Like, what kind of influences did you hear?
Great question. I love talking about this because my dad and my mom are so awesome. It sounds like you have similar relationship with your parents. They're just so cool and inspiring. My mom is like an earth mama who just, she's the sweetest, nicest person. And my dad is he's amazing too. They're both so supportive, but he's a funk jazz bass player. So I grew up going to all my dad's shows where he was like doing all like where you're playing bass with your thumb and doing all like Flea from the Red Hot Chili
Yeah.
Peppers
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
all these classic 70s funk bass players.
That must
Yes.
have been
So it was
so
cool.
cool.
He would play in like church groups, but also like, yeah, like little funk groups and things like that. So always had kind of this attachment to music where my dad was going up and playing bass with these little groups.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably just in the blood, or I just got used to like, this is the pattern. You go play shows and it's fun.
Yeah.
There would always be musicians at the house and he would have rehearsals. But to your question, it was like, James Taylor, all those things, Neil Young, the classics, Led Zeppelin, all
Yeah.
those things, just the classic rock. And my dad really instilled a love of all that stuff and still has a big passion for music and talk to them very frequently. But it's all that kind of like James Taylor adjacent classic 70s
Yeah.
folksy songwriters really was kind
Yeah.
of in
Yeah.
a wheelhouse for me. So when I was trying to learn guitar, I wanted to play Metallica songs because I thought it was cool, or that's what all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
kids at school were playing. My dad wanted to teach me Fire and Rain or a James Taylor song, which at the time was not cool, but now I see like how cool it is to be playing James Taylor when you're in junior high.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was unique.
How old were you when you decided to go to LA?
Yeah.
Like, were you like a teenager by
Gosh,
then,
I
or were
think I
you in
was
your
probably
20s?
22.
Yeah,
No, I was in my early 20s. So I was just maybe 2021, and it was kind
yeah.
of a um I hadn't finished school. I think I left school just shy of graduating. Since I've gone back and finished, but at that time it was the big cliche of dropping out of school to go chase the dream and go to
Yeah,
LA, and that
yeah,
thing, and it was fun. A lot of memories and contacts that I still have that I keep in touch with, and
yeah,
um from the music industry. But it was early 20s. I look back on it, and in a lot of ways I'm thankful that with the music we were trying to play at that time didn't hit or didn't get
yeah.
famous or big, because I'd still be wearing eyeliner or having to
I
scream
can't
every
even
night, and that would be
imagine you
terrible,
in
right?
eyeliner. You have to maybe dig up a picture.
It's I'm being I know. I'll dig up a picture and we can throw something on the podcast. But we were definitely doing the full thing where we were rocking out, and we had
Yeah,
we got to a point where we were playing some packed shows regularly. We were selling out like House of Blues on Sunset, Avalon, some of these big rooms in LA. But we just we hit a point where things kind of fell apart. I think, getting into the weeds a little bit, but I think with any musician trying to like make it or do their thing, I think maybe what we were lacking and what we didn't focus on was touring or like building outside of that. We were just doing
yeah,
our
yeah,
one regular show. It's same as San Diego. If you
yeah.
only play the Casbah once a month, even if you sell it out once a month, you're not growing. And it was kind of that thing where you kind of become the big fish in that market or that region, and you don't grow. So I think it just got
Yeah,
stagnant or stale, and then people just went their own ways as they do. But I'm
yeah,
grateful because it took me back to San Diego. I met my wife there. We had so many good times at the Casbah, and
yeah.
so I think it's for the best. But that was a unique time for sure.
A lot of people think that LA being in such close proximity to San Diego that it's really similar. And I said, I feel, having lived in both places, that it's completely different music scenes and completely different
Mhm.
vibes.
For sure,
And not just as a person in the crowd,
for sure.
but also as a person in a band. And would you say though that, I mean,
Hmm.
I feel like I'm being biased when I say it, but like I said, I've lived in LA and I've lived in San Diego.
No, you're
I
right.
just feel like San Diego has this more community feel. I don't know about now, but like
Oh yeah,
back in the
oh
day,
yeah,
San Diego had a more community feel in terms of everybody supporting each other. Everybody's wearing everybody else's band
oh yeah.
t-shirt. I was telling Marty the other day, I said, I think the awesome thing about San Diego and being in a band in San Diego in the late 90s, early 2000s was, if there was nobody that came to your show, you could always count on guys in other bands being at your show. And sometimes it was only
Yeah,
people in other bands
I
at your show, and that was it,
yeah.
you know?
I've been
But
at
I'm
I've
like, that,
been at those shows where it was 3 people from other bands in the crowd. I totally relate to that for sure. And
but
LA
still, that's
for sure has
fantastic.
pockets of
Yeah,
great neighborhoods, but I think
yeah,
San Diego, especially in that era that I'm thinking of Blackout Party, Casbah, that era, though, that kind of clique of bands that were active, everyone was so supportive.
yeah,
There was nobody being a cool
yeah,
guy with their arms
yeah,
folded, and you
yeah,
know, I feel like
yeah,
LA, you're probably just more likely to get that, but there's
yeah.
definitely pockets of cool scenes in LA. So it's not a dig at LA by any means, but I think
No,
it
no.
was easier to find support because San Diego was a smaller. It really was like the Casbah, and go to the
Yeah.
Casbah and get in with that crew, and it's just a great little community.
I have a great picture of Jake, and it was like after a Blackout Party show, and Jake is just sitting out in the back, on the sidewalk out in front of Casbah like this, and there's non-Blackout Party people packing up his shit, and we just titled it Brodies. And I'm like, but
Yeah.
that's it, right? They're Brodies, they're just,
Oh,
I mean, everybody's so helpful, like super, super
Jake.
helpful. I love Jake.
Hmm.
So Marty takes me out and says, "Hey, come out, see this band, my friend." And I didn't know Daniel Crawford at the time. And I hadn't met Tila yet. I hadn't met you. I
Oh
hadn't met
yeah.
Jake. I hadn't met Hop. So I sat there and I said, "Oh, okay. let's go. And he's like, my friend Dan, he's playing in this band. And I went out not knowing what to expect at all. You know, Casbah's got like, I've been going to Casbah since I was legally allowed to go to Casbah, and I've seen some great bands. I just saw a clip right now, and I'm like, oh, I was at that show with Brian. We went Shonen Knife. Shonen Knife. We went to Shonen Knife. Well, you were at Shonen Knife when I was at Shonen Knife. Yeah, so I was just like, oh, I was at that show with Brian, Shonen Knife at Casbah. But I also remember, I don't know if you were in San Diego yet at that time when Casbah went through like there was a rockabilly period, which I didn't get into myself that much into the rockabilly period. But I know that it was existing. Like it was totally existing. Everyone was dressing up. It was that time. And so when I went to go see Blackout Party, it wasn't what I was expecting. And I was like immediate fan because of the fact that I grew up listening to that kind of stuff from my dad. And so I was like, oh, this is what he's bringing out a flute. Like it was like, what? You know, like Tilo brings out a flute. It's like,
what's going on?
What? Yeah. Like what's happening? He's got a flute out. It was so exciting. It was so fantastic. And I loved photographing the band because everybody always looked like they were having fun, right? Like nobody took their and when I say nobody took their self seriously, I don't mean that people were just goofing or like that wasn't it. There was just this just kind of like an ease at it, having fun. It was like a band playing for a group of their friends. That's what it felt like. A band that was playing for a group of their friends, and everybody was having a great time.
That's what it was. And that's what it felt like. I think I don't know if we set out to do that intentionally, but I think we just all enjoyed each other, and it was fun. And I think something about, we knew that it was special when we got together. It had a sound, and I think we were all just enjoying being a part of it. And that's how I felt. I mean, even talking about Tilo with the flute, I miss Tilo. And it's just it's so crazy to think about him with that flute because he was so talented with it, but he didn't want to play it because of the Ron Burgundy Association or like jazz flute. But he was so good, and I think he didn't want to get lumped in with like Jethro Tull or like pigeonholed as the flute guy, but it was so special when he would play that thing, and he was so good at it. So it made such a unique impact, I think.
So tell me, you said you met him at a coffee shop. How did that come about? Tell me about that story.
Yeah. Good question. It was, let me get the dogs really quick. My dogs are going nuts.
We like dogs. We're not.
Sorry, 1 second. So Tilo was working at a coffee shop in Ocean Beach called Java Jungle, which was, if anyone, I think it's still there. It's like an outdoor garden nursery / coffee shop. It's kind of a weird little hippie coffee shop, but a really cool vibe. So I would go there in the morning in this time when I was kind of like wandering aimless. I had left LA. I didn't know what I was doing. I had just walked away from this band that had, in my mind, had this momentum going, this demo deal with a record label. And I left. And I was just hanging out in Ocean Beach, kind of like formulating the next plan, writing songs, demoing things. And I would go in there with a journal and write and have coffee. And there was this cool looking guy that just looked like a movie star. And he was so nice. Obviously, Tim, we would just get to talk every day. And he would always have like Led Zeppelin playing or some really cool music playing. So we just got to striking up conversations and who are you? What's going on? And he played in some bigger bands in LA. I can't think, or in San Diego. I can't think of the name of it, but with like Mike Cooper, I think. And they had like opened for the Strokes recently. So that he was just coming up. And I think his band had also just broken up. So we had these weird parallel stories where he thought he had this momentum going and then that all split up. So we were both kind of like waiting for the next thing. So I think it was like a natural, fortuitous moment where we both kind of just found each other and just said, hey, let's jam, let's play. And as soon as he showed up with a flute and these like old dusty amps and pawn shop guitars, and he brought a snare drum that he was playing brushes on, and he brought like the weirdest equipment to our first rehearsal. I just fell in love instantly and just said, this guy is so cool. So it was awesome.
And Tim would later go on to form Low Volts, which was, if you know about it, it's pretty amazing. It was like a one-man band. And I think that's like so perfect for him because, like you said, he's always bringing in weird things, but like an innovator in the sense that you didn't really see anybody doing what he was doing with low volts. You know, it's like, dude, this guy's standing
No,
on his drum, kicking his
no.
drum while playing. Like it was kind of fantastic. And there was just
Oh yeah,
kind of that kind of gritty thing. Unfortunately,
yeah.
we lost
Oh yeah.
Tim recently. And
Hmm.
man, that hit
Yeah.
a lot of us
Terrible.
really hard. Just because you
Hmm.
know somebody, sometimes you don't
Yeah.
catch up all the time because you think they're always going to be around. And even, Martin and
That's it.
me, we were just like kind of wrecked. Martin's like, dude, it like, and I sent all these pictures. I was like, oh man, like I sent all these pictures of Marty and Tim because there was a period of just hanging out with Tim a lot. And so I sent all those to Marty. Marty's like, he called me back. He's like, dude, I'm so bummed. He's like, I've just been sitting here crying, man. Cause he's like, I feel like, dude, and
Yeah, me
Marty
too.
had just ran into him not too long ago. He went into a bar for some
Mm,
reason. Marty's like, I don't go into bars anymore. Like, yeah, like who goes into bars our age anymore, right? He's like, I went into a
yeah,
bar the other day. He's like, I ran into Tilo. Tilo bought me a drink and he was just talking about his daughter. And he's like, I was talking about
that's
my
great.
kids. And I'm like, that's so cool though that he got to have, it was almost like not closure, but it was good that he got to have like a current conversation with Tim before we lost him. And
Yeah,
such a tragic way for him to go. It was a car accident. So I don't want people thinking, oh, it was drugs or something.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just tough. I don't.
Yeah.
The hard part for me is just seeing his 2-year-old daughter. It's shocking. It's shocking, and it was. I think for me, the last time I played Casbah, I went back last year and played an acoustic show, just my solo stuff. The guys came up and we did a couple Blackout Party songs. So there was this cool. I don't want to say closure because there was nothing to
Yeah.
close
Yeah.
up, but it was just like a
Yeah.
reconnecting. Cool, let's play a few
Yeah.
songs. Daniel was unfortunately in Scotland, I think, so Daniel wasn't
Yeah.
there. I wish he
Yeah.
would have been. That would have been perfect. But Tim, Jesse, and Hoth got up on stage and we played a couple songs. And Tim played the flute, and it was just cool to reconnect years later. But hearing Tim talk about his daughter and talk about being dads and just kind of this peace that had come over him. So like
Yeah.
that's what wrecked me when I found out. It was like, of course you're sad about Tim, but I'm thinking about his 2-year-old little girl. So that was the
Yeah.
big part that I think we tried to channel the grief into like helping as much as possible through the
Yeah.
situation and like try to set them up for success and try to keep in touch with the family and all those things. And I was in San Diego for the service, and I think 1,000 people showed up at Valley High. It was insane.
That's
It was
nice.
actually shocking, and it shouldn't be shocked because he impacted so many people. But
Yeah.
I guess it was overwhelming how many people were there, and
Yeah.
it just shows how many people he touched, how many people cared about him. And yeah, to your point, he was like the coolest guy in the room, but also the nicest guy in the room somehow. And I
Yeah.
think that was what everyone kept saying is, here's this guy he looks like a movie star wearing all leather, riding a Harley. You
Got a
think
feather
he
in his
would be an
cap.
asshole. You think he would be a
Yeah.
jerk and wouldn't want to talk to you. Yeah, he looks like James Dean, but he's the nicest sweetheart in the world. So like I think that those two sides of him are what made everybody fall in love with him instantly because it was so disarming because you're expecting one thing and then you get the polar opposite of the most warm-hearted, sweet guy who's also so
Yeah.
talented at music. So
Yeah.
he had it all. His music was growing. I looked at his streams. He's got millions of streams as low volts. So I didn't realize
Oh,
his music had even gotten
yeah.
that big online. So it's
Well,
crazy.
that's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that either. I've got such great memories with Tim. I mean, I remember one day I was just like, I was at home and I was living in PQ, which is Rancho Penasquitos at the time. And
Okay.
I read in the paper that in Carmel Mountain Ranch, which was maybe only like a 15-minute drive from me, it was like Gene Wilder was signing
Yeah.
autographs like for his book. And I called everybody and everyone's like, no, I'm not. Yeah, I don't want to go. And I called up Tim. I'm like, hey, Gene Wilder's over at
Not
Carmel Mountain
interested.
Ranch Borders. Tim was like, I'm in the car now. And like Tim got in the car and he drove like a bat out of hell, like from OB up to Carmel Mountain
Yeah.
Ranch. And I was like the next person in line. Remember I used to wear my fuzzy trapper hat all the time, like my little trapper fuzzy
Yeah.
furry hat.
Yes.
And so like
Do
I
you
was
still have
standing
that
in
hat?
line. Yes. And so I was standing in line and I was the next person. And it's like Gene Wilder, right? It's Willy Wonka. I'm like so like excited to meet him, but I'm super shy. I don't know what to say. I get up to the
Yeah.
line and he said the coolest thing to me. And like Tim was behind me and he said, "Look, she came all the way from Alaska." Like that's what Gene Wilder said. And I was like, "Hi, how are you?" And me and so
So
we
good.
have these pictures. Me and Tim were just like he was fangirling too over Gene Wilder. We were just like Willy Wonka. Like
Oh,
we
yeah.
went to go meet Mike Garson, who wrote with David Bowie. So like great. He was always
Oh,
down.
wow.
Like I'd call him up all the time. I'm like, "Hey, you want to come down?"
Oh, yeah.
When I became friends with Sky Saxon from the Seeds, I remember one time I was like, Obi, I was like, "Hey Tim, are you home
Yes.
now? You should come down." I'm like, "Come meet Sky. Like you and Sky would get along really well." Came down. Sky looked at him one
Oh,
moment.
yeah.
He said, "River." And he's like, "What?" He goes, "I name you River." Because Sky was this hippie that used to have like cults. And so he
Oh,
always gave people
oh, yeah.
names of what he thought your name should be. Like, my name is Love Nature. Like, immediately. And
Oh,
this is a crazy thing about Sky. And his wife's a witness. Like, that particular day that we went down to OB, like, because Sky was in San Diego and they called and they said, "Hey, we're in San Diego. What should we do?" I said, "Why don't you go to the dog park and take your dog with you?" Because they had a dog. And I'm like, go to OB Dog Beach.
mhm.
And so I said, "I'll meet you there." So I went, and that's when I called Tim. I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to Dog Beach with Sky and his wife. Like, you should come meet Sky." I said, "Marty's on his way. Come meet Sky." And so that particular day,
Cool.
Sky looked at me and he said, "Love Nature." I said, "What?" And he's like, "That's what I'm naming you, Love Nature." I ripped open my flannel, had a big hippie peace sign, and he hadn't seen it. It was so crazy. Like
No way.
it gives me
No
like
way.
goosebumps. He hadn't seen it at all.
That's
And so I ripped
spooky.
it open and me and Sabrina were like,
Crazy.
"What?" That was so crazy. Love Sky. You would have loved
How
Sky.
did he know
Like, I
that?
don't
Cool.
he was a great character. But
I
yeah,
wish I would've hung out with him.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a cool day with like
So cool.
Tim and him got along really great and they had just because they're both people that just love music, so they talked about music and stuff.
In the morning when I wake up, I brew some coffee, you put your makeup on, Javelina, wanna see you smile. Wrote some sad songs when I was sad. It's been a while now and I don't feel that bad. Was a lonely, abalone shell. So Javelina, wanna see you smile. Cause I could smell you on our bed sheets. Wish I could tell you what it all means. I heard you leaving, baby, wish you well. Javelina, wanna see you smile. Was a lonely, abalone shell. Javelina,
So what happened after Blackout Party? Where did you go after that?
It's a good question. So never like left Blackout Party. I just got an
Yeah.
opportunity and moved very quickly. So it was kind of a job opportunity that came up suddenly. So I kind of just
Didn't
had
you
to
go to
say, hey, I'm
Nashville?
moving to Nashville. So I
Yeah.
left San Diego. I went to Nashville for 5 years. We had recorded our last record in Nashville, had a really good experience, bonded with them, had some opportunity, some connections there through that where, I was at the time thinking I want to branch out and maybe do some writing with other people, not just play in my own band. I'm kind of
Yeah.
shy too. I don't like being in the front in the spotlight. I kind of enjoy being more the side man or in the background more.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
kind of thinking maybe this is a chance to do some writing and be home for dinner, like work more banker's hours in music, but
Yeah. Yeah.
then
Yeah. Yeah.
not be on the road, not be out late. I wanted to be in my bed by 8 o'clock, all those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was working at a hotel was the job that I got. It's called the Omni Hotel in Nashville, attached to the Country Music Hall of Fame, um, right downtown. So great opportunity. My kind of career in hospitality that I'm still in as my day job grew a lot there, but met a lot of really cool people at that hotel. Like, I'll tell this story. Like John Prine, if you know who he is, famous songwriter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before he passed, he was a regular. He came in and rented out a room on the. He rented a suite and wrote his last album up in this room,
Yeah.
and took care of him for a week. Um,
Yeah.
and he wrote all those songs in the hotel room, dealt with all kinds of, country music royalty coming through. So there was like a really cool music connection to that hotel. Lots of funny stories I maybe can't share on the podcast, but maybe on the side. But great experience. And then realized that I was tired of being in a city. I think, like you said, Nate, what did you say? Nature lover. It's
Love
how I
nature.
feel. Like I just always felt at home away from people, out in the woods. Yeah, I love nature. And my wife's family is here in Montana, and we had started coming here years ago to visit, like family trips, coming for Christmas, staying for a week, staying for 2 weeks. And it was just like, oh my God, this is the best place. I could feel it. Like my blood pressure
Yeah.
dropped
Yeah.
audibly. Like I knew, like I wish I could show, like out the window, I'm looking at the river out the backyard and just trees. It's insane. So we we decided, yes, we need to leave Nashville, but we need a plan. So I
Yeah.
think I Googled luxury hotel in the woods in Montana, and just before Chat GPT, I wish I had
Yeah.
chat back then. It probably would have helped, but
Yeah.
found Pause Up, this ranch that I work at now, and really quickly through a few connections on LinkedIn, had a job offer. So that also we left quick. So left San Diego very quickly, and then after about 5 years in Nashville, we knew it
Yeah.
was time to go. So we sold our house and we were out. So we had a house in East Nashville, Inglewood, really cool area. But then really quickly got this opportunity, and my wife, thankfully, is very adventurous too,
Yeah.
and she said, "Yeah, let's go." So we live on property. So I live on the ranch here. That's where we are, and it's a luxury guest ranch, 37,000 acres, which is like 56 square miles. So you can't really wrap your head around how big it is.
Wow.
It's like its own, county. It's insane. So
Well,
56
just to
square
put it in
miles.
perspective, Camp Pendleton is only 500 square miles.
Yeah.
So even if you're saying 56 square miles, that's
Mhm.
huge. I mean, that's huge. That's
Yeah.
like 10%
It's
of
giant.
Pendleton, which is
Giant.
huge.
So yeah. And Pendleton's huge. So
Yeah.
this is like, I think it's the size of Manhattan is what they say. I don't know if that's accurate, but 10 miles of the river flows through property. So if you picture 10 miles of a river, we're still on property. So tons of outdoor activities, ATV rides, fly fishing, riding horses, shooting guns.
You're literally
So
living the dream.
it's pretty fun. And the good part for me with music is there's a musical element too. So that's what attracted me to it. Is there's live music 7 nights a week, strong like roots, bluegrass, country, Americana. There is a great thriving Americana bluegrass scene in this region of the country, like Montana, Wyoming, Idaho.
Yeah.
Lots of places to play, great supportive crowds. So it's just really great. Lots of like minds. And then the resort, we were able to get a Fender partnership. So we have like a Fender guitar partnership. So a strong musical tie-in. We're building a event center right now for like
Wow.
big A-list acts to come play in a small intimate setting. So we're really driving towards this really unique experiential music tie-in with luxury hospitality. So that's my day job. And
Yeah.
then obviously outside of work, I'm still passionate about music. I play a bluegrass night. I've really, and that probably ties into what we might talk about with the social media and the Instagram and the sharing guitar licks and just starting to try to build that, which have kind of grown that into its own little
Yeah.
thing on the side, which has been fun too.
Yeah. I've seen your numbers grow and I'm like, that's really cool. Like doing your guitar licks. And I'm like, wow, it's like the
Ba-
numbers
Baby
keep
numbers
climbing.
compared to your million, it's baby numbers.
No, it's I mean, I get a lot of the million views because I do a lot of stuff with Anuj because he's like my BFF and we get along so much because we literally talk about music all day long. Like and that's why we collaborate a lot. Like we just constantly sending each other stuff like, "Have you heard
Yeah.
this? Have you heard this?" Like he never heard of Crystal Gale the other day. And I'm like,
Yeah.
my God, like I'm gonna throw up a post about Crystal Gale and I'm gonna teach you everything. I'm like, she's Loretta Lynn's sister. I'm like, you didn't watch Coal Miner's Daughter? I'm like, this is like it's Crystal Gale, but
Yeah.
like he says a lot of times because he's, young, he's an Indian kid that grew up in Dubai. And so his music experiences are so different from mine growing up, but it's like he brings stuff to me that I've not heard and I bring stuff to him. And so we collaborate a lot because we're just music nerds. Uh, But yeah, like I've seen your
So
licks
cool.
go up and I'm like, so there's a value in what you do because
Yeah.
obviously people are following you and looking at that. It's kind of like when Jake did his different drum beats. It's quite helpful because sometimes
Yeah.
people don't know how to
Yeah.
do stuff. And I always like it when people do that kind of stuff because it's like I had a friend BJ Russell was on here and BJ has a YouTube and Instagram called Smashing Pumpkins Gear because he used to buy their old gear or like on auctions and stuff like that
Cool.
and then play it. And he can play like any pumpkin song really because that's all he does like all day, all night out in Mississippi. He just plays pumpkin songs. But he
So
does a
cool.
lot of these kind of tutorials for how to do pumpkin songs. And he's got a big following 'cause people like tutorials.
Awesome.
I mean, especially like my kid, if he didn't
They love
have
it.
Jake, he wouldn't have been able to do drums at the time. Like that was kind of an inspiration. Just even knowing Jake, like kind of being like, oh, okay, I know this person that's doing the
Yeah.
drums, so to speak, because my mom knows him. Like I'm going to listen to him more than somebody who doesn't. I want to go back to Nashville though, because I think that is actually really cool that you lived in Nashville and I don't
Yeah.
know. So I have a lot of questions. How is it? Because, when I think of
Sure.
Nashville, I always think of how
It's
early Nashville was described of like the times of like, okay, if you're Elvis, you want to go there, you want to cut a record, here's a shop, you could pay X amount of money to go and cut a record, like a record. And that's how a lot of, these
Oh yeah.
bands started back in the day. How is Nashville now compared to then? Is it still have that kind of community feel like San Diego, or is it much, much bigger and everyone's kind of doing
Yeah.
their own stuff?
It's It's bigger, but people are so nice and so supportive. It's like
Oh,
probably the nicest people in the world that I've ever met. Everyone is so
really?
nice. Even people that are well known or well connected, they're just saying, "Hey man, how's it going?" And it's almost over the top nice. It's almost shocking when you first go there. And I don't know if it's something
Yeah.
about the southern charm, but people were always willing to, give you a shot or put you in a room with somebody that maybe you didn't
Yeah.
deserve to be in a room with. And I got to write with a couple people that were for sure like bigger than me that I probably didn't
Yeah.
deserve to be in that room. And it's a
Yeah.
little pressure, but it's cool that they didn't say, "Oh, who's this guy?" They just said, "Hey man, how's it
Yeah.
going?" And they just treat you like a normal person. I think the level of talent is ridiculous. Obviously, if you're trying to go to Nashville to be a guitar player, good
Yeah.
luck. It's not going to happen. It's
Wow.
those seats are already kind of taken. There's about
Yeah.
5 or 6 guys that are the first call session guitar players. So if you want to be a session player, that's like a very small crew of 10, 20 people that get all the calls, kind of. It's kind of what it seems like. There's Tom Bukovac, Guthrie Trapp. There's 4 or 5 other guys that play on every single record. And so that's a very unique world in its own. And then I think what's unique about Nashville is the way that the rights work, where you have appointments and it's like a day job, where you have a pub deal or you don't, but you have these appointments set up for you. And it's a kind of a 9 to 5 or a 10 to 5 job, and everyone shows up and you write 2 songs a day. And it's like an assembly line. And there's 3 people in the room usually. Someone's focused more on the production, like recording it, like the track person. Someone's maybe the vocal or the melody, the top line is what you call it. And then there's someone that's maybe more focused on lyrics. So it's kind of like a assembly line to make a song in 2 hours, 3 hours. Very unique, but you can see why a lot of the country music songs on the radio tend to sound the same, because shoot, if you've got to write 5-10 songs a week, every week, you kind of get into a pattern.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's the same sometimes with a lot of pop songs, because I think some of the pop songs are generally written by the same people. And I don't know if a lot of people know, certain songs are not like, for example, Wrecking Ball. Miley Cyrus, sings Wrecking Ball. It's quite famous, but she didn't write Wrecking Ball. Like another group of people, like a lot of singers do have other people that write, and then and I'm not trying to knock down, people that use music written by other people, but like I said, there's like a predictability when you have the same group of people writing songs. Like there's almost a predictability. It's kind of going to sound like this, no matter who you sell the song to, it's generally going to have that kind of a same sound. That's really interesting. It's really cool that you kind of could peel that back, because I wondered how it was in Nashville, but you kind of confirmed. Yeah, it's like almost like, but
unique.
That's always been going on. Like you think of the old, who was it? Carole King and her writing partner, I can't think of his name right now, Carole King, but they would just constantly write, just songs, like writing songs for people all the time, and just selling all these. Because I believe Carole King, I read an article where she said she got into that because somebody told her she was not good looking enough to be a lead singer. Right. So she became this writing person. Yeah, she had to write, and she wrote well, and she wrote wonderfully well. Yeah.
She's amazing. And even then it's, there's an element of assembly line where you're going in and you're clocking in and you're writing your song, and it's inevitable that you're kind of looking at what's popular and maybe trying to emulate that. And there's probably some pressures from record labels and publishers saying, hey, so-and-so is popular, or this is the number 1 song right now. We need our own version of that. So even subconsciously, the threat is, I think you're maybe trying to chase that instead of doing something authentic. But I think maybe the art of it is doing something that's authentic and pure, but still maybe scratches that itch and is popular. So I think there's amazing songs, in my opinion, that are, on the top country charts. I don't think just because something's popular or catchy, it's bad. I think it's just finding a way to do that that's not derivative or isn't cheesy. It's still beautiful and it still touches people. I think that's kind of the sweet spot.
It's interesting that you were talking about that. Martin was on, I had him not too long ago, and he was talking about this website or app called Suno or Sona. I can't remember what it is. It's an AI songwriting thing.
Suno.
And he's like, I use it all the time. And I was like, wait a second. I'm like, what do you use it for? I'm like to make music that you want to listen to, or are you just messing around? He's like, no, I make it for my kids. He's like, every night they want a song about the dogs. I'm like, oh, okay, that's totally fine. That makes sense. Like, I'm not judging people using Soda, but he said something interesting. He's like, the songs that it makes are so good. He's like, I just put dog's name, what the dogs like to do, comes out with a song. And he's like, and it's good. He's like, it's really good. And it has unexpected stuff in it that you wouldn't expect. And he said something that was so controversial to me because he's my best friend. And he's like, dude, I don't know like why people don't just like have Suno write the song and then they just copy it and make the song now. Like that's how you could be popular. I'm like, oh, that's crazy that people could do that though. But that's people could do that, right? I'm like, I suppose people could do that. But it's crazy that he's not saying that he would do that
doing right now, right?
Right. Well, I don't even know if they're copying the song or they're just putting the whole AI song up there. Like I believe that, was it last month that one of like the top selling songs turned out to be an AI song?
2 of them.
2 songs? 2.
Yeah, 2.
Which is
there were 2 songs in the top 10 on the country charts were completely AI generated, not by a human. It was made in Suno with a fake like Chat GPT like logo. It was not a real person, and they're in the charts. So it's AI is such a weird, unique topic, and I'm down to talk about it too because it's so controversial. But I think it's weird that we're letting AI try to make art instead of do our laundry. You know what I'm saying? Like I think AI should be replacing drudgery so we can make more art, but instead we're giving AI the fun part of being alive. We're letting AI make a song or do a painting, and it's making more drudgery for us. I really think that. So I think as a species, we're kind of getting it backwards, where we should be creating systems where AI can come in and do my taxes and do my laundry and do all these other things so I can play more guitar and write more. But we're choosing to use this powerful tool to make art. It's completely backwards.
It's interesting. It's interesting because people have such really strong opinions about AI. And I'm like, but AI is so ubiquitous. It's like, it's not just one thing. It's like, you may have a really strong opinion about one aspect of AI, but there's so many other, you know, like I have people that are like, oh, I hate AI. And I'm like, dude, my mom is 82 and she studies daily. Like she's downstairs studying. And I'm like, what are you studying? She's like, some topic I didn't know enough about that I want to know more about. And I'm like, why? And she's like, because I can. And I'm like, actually, that's really cool because she's 82, right? And it's good for her cognitive exercises in a sense. And I'm like, that's a really good use of AI. For me, I was like telling Desmond, I'm like, I hate doing like finance stuff. Like I do everything in my head. Like I've always done everything in my head. I don't have a ledger. It's all in my head. Like I can memorize everything, but I was thinking as I'm getting older, I should have stuff in a ledger. If something happens to me, like my son could then look at it and go, okay, I know what's going on here. So I'm like, I should start making ledgers just in case something happens to me, right? Because he's old enough, he could kind of figure it out. And so like I've been using AI. I'm like, look, I said to him, like, I hate doing finances. Can I just like give you like receipts and stuff and you just like tell me like, oh, I'm going to give you a budget. I'm going to tell you this and that. Am I over, under budget? Am I, you know, can you do that? And it was like, yeah. And so I've built this thing and I love it because it's just like I buy something. I don't know if it's in the same in the States anymore, but in America, here now, nobody carries cash, cards, or anything anymore. It's like we just all have our phone and we scan it and we just pay it. And so I just buy something and it's like I just send it to my chat and it's like okay, here's your running totals, and it gives me an end of day report. So there's so many. I use it to simplify my life as much as I can. But you also have to know the limitations. Like this podcast here, Riverside, when I first started with Riverside 2 years ago, it didn't have an AI. Now it does. And so it used to take a long time to go through and listen for pauses. Like Desmond in the beginning, he's British, right? And it was hell editing him in the beginning because you'd ask him a question and he'd be like, well, like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm thinking. I'm like, oh my God. They're like, you can't put that in a podcast. It's like just staring off into space thinking. And so I'd have to cut everything.
Yeah.
And now, like 2 years into Riverside, like it'll do all that for me. It'll like do pre-production. It'll take
Really?
out all pauses, yeah, and then it gives me something, and I could still edit it. And before, it
Cool.
used to not have separate tracks, so we would have to pull out the tracks and try to edit stuff somewhere else and then take it back in. But now everything's here, and it makes life so much easier. Like
Wow.
I don't have to do a lot of stuff. And so I'm like, oh, I can, like, I don't like to do that stuff anyway. Like some people really like
Yeah.
editing, and I'm like, I don't like doing any of that. I don't like marketing. I don't like editing. I like
No,
sharing music and sharing conversations. That's what I like
that's
doing.
what I think, and that's what we should be using AI for. I think, in my opinion,
Yeah.
is creating efficiencies for us to have more human moments and be able to spend more time having a conversation. So you're not having to edit something, or
Yeah.
and I use AI a ton at work and for writing, organizing my life, but not letting it do the writing. I think for me, that's the line that I've come up with, where I'm not going to let ChatGPT write a lyric. That's kind of defeating the purpose. But I'll put all my lyrics in there, similar to how you put your receipts in there to organize them, so I can quickly access them. But beyond that, I don't think we should be letting AI do the creation.
But going back to what we were saying about AI and stuff, do you like, as an artist these days, do you think that, I mean, it's quite terrible, like you said, you know, 2 top songs are there. Do you think that that's making it much more difficult for art? Like, how do you think that's going to affect music
I
in the
think it's going to make
future?
it, I mean, there's two ways to look at it, but I think it makes it a lot easier for people who are really making music, because you
Yeah.
can tell when it's AI. In my
Yeah.
opinion, I think too many people are relying on it. So the people that are still really making music in
Hmm.
5 years are going to be like superheroes. They're going to be like superhumans, because they still focused on really making their own photography or their own paintings
Yeah.
or playing the guitar or whatever it is, or writing real lyrics.
Yeah.
ChatGPT cannot write good lyrics.
Yeah.
It just can't. So
Yeah.
it's uh it's a unique thing. I think people have relied on it and used it as a bailout and relied on it
Yeah.
too much, and it's become popular. But I don't think it's going to be, I think AI is not going anywhere, but I don't think it's going to replace what gives you the chills when you hear an amazing song, or when you have,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the real human thing, why we love music, why we love looking at a beautiful painting, isn't going anywhere. So I
Yeah.
think if we just focus on that, just keep making art, keep doing cool shit,
Yeah.
you're going to kind of level up on anyone who's trying to use AI.
Yeah.
And I definitely use AI, but my strategy, right or wrong, has been use it as a tool, like an efficiency, but I've been very careful. I even tell it when I'm giving it instructions, I am the writer, do not suggest anything. I'm giving you lyrics. I
I do
want you
that
to,
too. Yeah.
I know that's crazy, but
Yeah.
I want to be
Yeah.
very careful that it's not giving any creative input, and it's only just organizing my thoughts. So I've very intentionally used it as like a rhyming dictionary, or a thesaurus, or just an organizer of like lyric scraps, so I
Yeah.
can quickly access them. And it's been a nice
Yeah.
efficiency for writing. But I don't want to
Yeah.
say like, write me a verse. Like what's the
Yeah.
point
Yeah.
of that?
Yeah.
I don't consider that writing. I don't think any of us maybe should. I think
Yeah.
it's a it's a bailout. And Suno is crazy. Like we put one of my songs, my buddy who played drums on one of my songs, Darkwing Bird, Shane, he's great. He just got into Suno, and he put that song into Suno, and he said, listen to this. And he did like a yacht rock version, reggae version. And it was funny, but it was also
Yeah.
terrifying, because it was like
Yeah.
like Marty said, it was so good, quote unquote. You could also tell like this isn't real music. These aren't real people playing it.
Yeah.
I'm sure in a few years it will get better, where you won't be able to tell as much, but still, to me, it feels more like a gimmick than,
Yeah. But
I,
I don't
I
know if
don't
a
want,
lot of people have the ear to be able to tell, just like a lot of people look
you're
at
right.
videos and they can't. I mean, there's a lot of videos of things that obviously you look at it and you're like, that's totally fake. And you read the comments and everybody's like believing it. And it's like, how, what are you talking about, people? It's like, that's so fake.
Terrifying. It's terrifying.
I think though also, you know, like one of the things I use AI for is like, I'm trying to write like a children's book series. Right. And so like,
Cool.
I have a lot of thoughts that are non-linear. And so it helps me, like I could throw in, I'm like, I just need you to organize this for me so I could put it in a structure later. And that's really good for that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of
Exactly.
really good uses. But I don't think though, going back to like writing in I mean, I think that most musicians are storytellers. And you can only really tell a story having lived it. There's an authenticity to it that I don't think that AI could ever replicate. Like you could hear, you hear certain songs and you could hear the pain in the song, or you could hear the elation in the song. You could hear the heartbreak, which I don't think maybe AI could write the words of a heartbreak, but you can't really, I don't know if it can do the voices of heartbreak. Like, I don't know if it can replicate that. Like, I've
Agreed.
never really listened to it, but I just don't think it's possible.
And do we want to let it do that? Is kind of like where I go with it. Is that what we want to be using AI for? Is to be doing the fun part about being alive? Is writing a song or making a painting? To me, that's like
Yeah.
what we all want to do. Is we work so hard to be doing these, doing art or taking a picture or going to a museum and looking at a beautiful
Yeah.
painting. Do we want something that's created by a computer or something that's created by a human? So I think it's raises a lot of questions. I don't want to listen to music that was made by AI personally.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to put music out that I made in Suno and say this
Yeah.
is my song that I wrote. I think
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the crazy thing is there's so many people doing that right now. I'd have to look at the stat, but there's hundreds of thousands of new releases going out every day in Spotify and all the streamers. So that's the other crazy part about releasing music these days. In my opinion, this current climate is just going to make it so much more important to have a small, tight-knit community in real life.
Yeah.
So I think
Mm-hmm.
if anything, it's pushing us towards go play a show, go have 20 fans in a room and get sweaty and make music and have a little community. Go play
Yeah.
at the Casbah. Go have those moments over just a social media moment where I think
Yeah.
if you're just existing on social media and putting out your Suno song, it's just not really going to connect, I don't think.
Yeah. We were talking about that earlier too. I don't know if it was with Marty or somebody else where I said that it's so easy for young people today, I think, too. I mean, you've been around long enough that you know what it's like to have to huff and gruff to get people to go to shows, hand out stickers, hand out CDs, network. There was a lot of networking, a lot of shows, a lot of road trips in a van with a bunch of other guys that haven't taken a shower in a couple of days. There's all the blood, sweat, and tears that comes to that. And I said, and then but now it's so easy to write a song, get it out there on the internet. And if you somehow get into some algorithm, you can have like 1 million clicks, right? It's so easy. I said, but you're not doing the touring. You're not. So I said, is something going to
No,
be lost in that, right?
for
Because
sure.
maybe
It
some of the
will.
songwriting comes from that being on the road,
Yeah.
being stuck in some podunk city out of gas, got your shit stolen, like
Yeah.
can't find your bassist, like where'd he go, and it's like, and then you write a song about it, right? It's like you can't get that with AI, and you can't get that, like, I don't think, if you don't tour. Like, I know,
Exactly.
like, a lot of people go like, look at Justin Bieber, he just did YouTube videos and look how big he got. And it's like, but maybe because he didn't have the community, maybe that's why he's in the state that he's in now, where he's not, for all intents and purposes, he doesn't seem to be in a good place, like
Yeah.
mentally, emotionally. And it's like, because maybe you didn't have that community, like that's going to look out for you, support you.
So true. And the weird thing about me releasing music the last couple months, I've been talking to people, getting advice, and just trying to say, what should I do? A couple people who have been advising me from music industry, just, it's crazy that everyone's advice is just post on TikTok. That's all. It's what everyone is saying. And it's, how can that be the strategy? But across the board, everyone just seems to not know what the fuck is going on. And they're just saying, I don't know, just post on TikTok. So
Yeah.
I think the secret is no one knows what's going on right now. And the secret is to like build a community. And at the end of the day, if you can have 20 to 50 people show up in 5 or 10 cities in your little region, you're way more successful than someone that has 1 million followers on Instagram and can't get people out to a show. Cause I think that's the other rub, is there's tons of people that have gone viral, so to speak, and have all these followers and have a viral song or a viral moment. But then when they try to convert that over to like actually getting people to buy a ticket or come see them, no one's showing up. So it's not across the board, but at the end of the day, they're not really building a community. They're not taking it offline and getting in a sweaty bar and playing and doing things. So to me, in my opinion, I feel like that's what it's about. Is I'd rather play in 4 or 5 cities right around me in Montana and Wyoming and just have this little regional thing than try to wait for this home run viral moment. That what does that do? What's the end result of that? So it's a weird thing for that to be the end goal of just post on TikTok and just hope you go viral. That doesn't seem like a strategy to me.
People have said that even for my podcast. They're like, you should post on TikTok. I'm like, I don't. I'm like, I'm going to do Instagram. And what's funny is like Instagram in this country, you can't monetize, but TikTok you can monetize. So Marty's like, why don't you just go on TikTok? I'm like, because I'm not interested in monetization whatsoever. Like, I just want to do what I do. And I don't, if people want to come along and follow along, those are my peeps, right? Like, remember that the No Rain video for Blind Melon? And the bee girl, and she's just like, she can't find her bee people, and everybody is like so mean to her, and she goes and she finds her bee people, and then they're happy. I'm like, I'm looking for my bee people, and I'm like, going to TikTok like does not make sense because I don't play on TikTok. So like, why should I go post on TikTok if I don't use TikTok? Those are not my people. Like, I'm gonna go places where I can find my people, and if that happens to be 10 people, and I was always on the presumption. Like, as our numbers were growing, I kept telling Desmond, I'm like, they're bots. They've got to be bots. There's no reason. Like, when we hit 10,000 people, I'm like, they're bots. They've got to be bots. He's like, why would bots follow us? I'm like, I don't know. But like, I can't, like 10,000 made like people like, okay, Anuja's got 1.5 million, right? So 10,000 is nothing.
Crazy.
But when I sit and think about it, and it's like, dude, if you played a show for 10,000 people, you'd be like, dude, I made it. You'd be like, I made it, right? Like, and I sit there and I'm like, if 10,000 people are following us, like, that's crazy. That's crazy to me. Like, I don't need to have 1.5 million. Like, I probably would be freaked out if I thought 1.5 million people were following me. Like,
a lot of
I don't know.
Eyes on you. I think for you, you're not trying to sell anything, which I think is that's an attractive thing to people, where if someone's doing a sales pitch or saying, hey, buy my program, or here's my guitar course. That's something that I was very intentional about too from the start. Is I was about to delete all social media and just completely nuke my Instagram. I was just tired of it. I still don't like it. I don't enjoy social media in a lot of ways, but I made a conscious choice to, okay, I'm going to start sharing these guitar licks, and I'm not ever going to try to like monetize or create a course. I just want to share licks for free. And just try to make this cool little, maybe a few followers, like a little community of guitar lovers and gear dorks like myself. So I think maybe similarly, people are resonating with you because you're not trying to do a sales pitch. You're just interviewing cool people and having cool conversations. And
I'm telling people to buy my friend's stuff though. I'm like, hey, you should buy this. Like, and like to bring up Dark Wind Bird. And I want to say something about this song, and because I was thinking about it this morning, because I have a pigeon hospital upstairs. So I was taking care of the pigeons, and it was in my head just over and over, and I was like, "Ah, see, that's a sign. That's a sign of a good song."
Awesome.
Like, I'm like, I keep singing the chorus in my head, like, over and over. I'm like, that's a good song. I'm like,
I
yeah.
did it.
I'm
Awesome.
like, I love that song. But that's why, but your song, and my friend Damien, he's just putting out an Americana album, and I used to manage him in a punk band like
Yeah.
30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But now he's put out this Americana album, and I'm like, I'm blown away because and it's kind of dealing with, as he wrote, as a punk person, he wrote a lot of political punk stuff.
Okay.
Like, he was the person that got me into political punk when I was
Nice.
younger. And so to see him transition from writing punk songs to now writing Americana songs, but they're still kind of political songs, that almost like Neil Youngish in a
Yeah.
way, you know. And I'm so excited about that. So between you and him, I sat there and I'm like, I was telling Desmond, I'm like, God, you know, these guys have this like such great music, and I want people to hear this music. And I'm like, and I don't understand like the algorithms and stuff now. Like, how does it go out? And I'm like, and so that's why I said, and that's why I asked you. I said, remember those old CD samplers that we used to get in
Yes.
like magazines and stuff? I'm
Let's do
like,
it.
we should put out a CD sampler so that people can like maybe listen to the song. So I told Anuj, and Anuj was like, I'm in, I'm down.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
like,
do it.
nice, let's do it. And I wanted to put bands that I love, and it didn't even have to be a current song. It's like, I just want to put songs like I want you to hear. Like, these are good songs. You should go listen to them. Yeah, a lot of them happen to be my pals, right? But it doesn't dissuade away from the fact that these are good songs. And I don't
So
know
cool.
how else to like try to get them out. So I'm working on that. I've got some great bands that I've asked to be on it. So that's on
Thank
its
you.
way. But let's get to your album.
I was lost in a memory, head up in the clouds, body battered and broken, with those photographs all around. I saw your silhouette there, outlined by the moon. At least I thought I heard you laughing there in the gloom. Hope you're resting easy now. Yeah, but hope's a funny word. When we all got appointments with a dark, dark winged bird. Dark winged bird. A dark winged bird. Dark winged bird.
I heard Darkwing Bird, and I was excited because, like I said, I was a huge fan of Blackout Party.
Thanks.
And I actually have a really cool picture of me in a Blackout Party tank top. It's not real. Like, that I would say is AI. So I originally, on the tank top, I went to go see Lisa Nicholson's band, and Lisa
Yeah.
Nicholson was in a band with Porter,
AM Vibe.
and AM Vibe. And so I didn't have an AM Vibe t-shirt, so I just made it with marker, like on a wife beater. And Tilo liked Tilo took the picture, but then he later he took it on my camera. But then when I posted the picture to support AM Vibe and Porter's band, like, Tilo stole the picture and did a Photoshop and put Blackout Party on it
Good.
instead.
That's so Tim too. That's awesome.
So it was really cool. But Darkwing Bird came out, and like I got chills. And like I said, I can't stop. Like, anytime like there's stillness throughout the day lately, it just pops in my head.
Thank you. That's awesome.
And that's why I want people to hear it. Like, it's such a good song.
It's a weird song.
And you told me a little bit about it. So tell me a little bit about this song.
It's got a weird story for sure. I haven't ever just woken up in the middle of the night and written a song before this one. And this was literally I got a phone call from a family member who was in the hospital. Long story short, the tone of the phone call, I thought someone was about to pass away. So there was this moment of like anticipated grief of I thought a family
Yeah.
member might be. So your mind starts racing. Is this
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
going to die? You don't know what's going on. You're wondering, you're waiting for an update, but your mind starts racing of your life, their life kind of flashes before your eyes
Yeah.
and couldn't sleep. Finally woke up at 3, 4 in the morning and just like a bolt and just had like 3 or 4 lines. And I was like knocking stuff off my nightstand, reaching for a pen, and I just scribbled this stuff down and went back to bed. And then in the morning, saw this stuff and then just kind of finished it. But it's kind of that hope you're resting easy now. Yeah, but hope's a funny word when we've all got appointments with a dark winged bird. Kind of that thing. We're all gonna die.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a morbid idea, but it's a something that took on a new meaning when Tim passed, I think, which
Yeah.
is a unique aspect to this song because I released it thinking that it was about one thing, and then it really does feel like it was written about Tim in some weird spooky
Yeah.
way in advance. And I know that's a
Yeah.
kind of a crazy idea, but when he passed, I had just dropped this single and then Tim passes, and it was just like, oh my God, this is crazy timing. And this song is about losing somebody
Yeah.
and all those things. So it's in a weird way, like Tim was that dark-winged bird and kind of became that idea. So it was healing in some way to be able to share that with some of Tim's family too at the service. And the song had just come out, and I didn't want to make it about Tim necessarily, but in
Yeah.
some way, I wanted to honor him. And I really felt like the idea of that song was about how it felt to lose Tim. So it was just a weird
Yeah.
chain of events. Writing it about someone I thought I was going to lose, ended up not
Yeah.
passing, and then we
Yeah.
have this crazy tragedy with Tim, and he passes. And I had just released this song, and I'm promoting it, and then
Yeah.
Tim has his accident. So it was just a very strange cycle of events. But yeah, it's kind of a morbid song, but some way comforting to me. I wrote it almost as a lullaby to myself, like trying to comfort myself in that moment of feeling like, oh my God, I'm losing this person. What's going on? And it was comforting to me to write it. And I just hope other people like it.
Yeah. What's funny is that when the song first came out, the first time I heard of it, we, as a family, my mom's an octogenarian, and this was a particularly rough coming out of last summer until even this winter, into like February. We just had, as a family, like we had family members dropping like flies just from old age. It was like we went in within the last year, we've been to like 4 family funerals.
I'm sorry.
And it's tough. It's really tough. And they're older people. They've had an old life, but it's the talk becomes, well, who's next amongst the older people? Like,
Mm-hmm.
who of us is next? And it's tough. My mom's the oldest, like, out of everybody, and like everybody that's been dying has been younger than her. And so I think that I might get emotional saying this, but like when I heard that song, it really made me think about time, time with people that you love, and how fleeting sometimes it is, and how the world is not going to stop or slow down for anybody. It's just going to go at its pace. And I think it was maybe like November. I just said, like I was just going to take a break from social media because I'm not a big fan to begin with, but I like even took a break from, I'm not going to text.
Yeah.
I'm not going to open text. I'm not going to read text, which
Sure.
was, I didn't realize how controversial that would be amongst friends that were like, what do you mean you're not going to open text? I'm like, if it's an emergency, you can call me, but I'm not going to be actively checking for a while because I just want to just really spend time. Like, my son is 15. He's going to turn 16 this summer. My mom is 82. In a sense, both of them are leaving me. You know what I'm saying? I said both of them are leaving me in a way. When he's 18, who knows what he's going to be up to, where he's going to go, what he wants to do. She's 82. So it's like, I think that song kind of really resonated with me in the sense of not just like, it's just of loss, like impending loss. But also how beautiful it also is. The loss is kind of beautiful in a way, because it's like, okay, well, this person existed, and this is all that they brought, and this is all that they gave to the world, and they just existed, and it's like, it's kind of like honoring all of that. And so, I mean, maybe that's one of the reasons why, like, I love the song so much, because it does kind of resonate with that feeling. I'm kind of back on social media a little bit, like a little tiny bit, but like not so much. But I mean, like you said, the social media is a fickle thing, and it's hard to kind of gauge what to do. Some people are like working it out. Like you said, a lot of people say, go to TikTok, go to TikTok, go to TikTok, which again, it's a weird, fickle thing. But I do want to bring up like a really interesting thing that you might find kind of fascinating. So Mitch Wilson, who was in No Knife, Lunar Maps, his son, Julian, was in a band called Kook.
Okay.
And they're in high school, and they posted on TikTok and blew up, like completely blew up. Like I think they had like 180K, like more so than like No Knife has in followers, right? Even though No Knife is like a legacy type San Diego type band, huge on the indie thing. But it was like, you're seeing them like blow up. And Mitch is like, oh yeah, it's amazing, because he's like, I didn't have to pay for them to go in the studio with Ben Moore. They paid for it all themselves from TikTok. And I'm like, well, that's amazing, right? That's amazing too. So like, I can see when people say do that kind of stuff, because yeah, you can monetize, and then you could use those funds. But then they also did it because they had parents like, in music. So they also did it the old way, where let's book shows, let's book and play and play and play, and let's play here and play there. And then, so then they blew up on top of that way. And then they did I don't think they've technically graduated yet. Maybe they have. They're so good. They're so good. Like when you listen to the band, they make the right choices. Like when I hear the choices of what they decide to make, it's like so good. And just like something out of they've broken up already.
They broke up already?
They broke up already. They're still in high school. That's like such lore, right? They've broken up already. And it's because like somebody moved away. Like somebody moved away, they've broken up. But I'm like, that's so crazy. Like,
love it.
Like 2026, right? You like have a viral band, and then it's like, let's break up.
Toured with Ben Moore at Big Fish, and then break up.
Right? Yeah. Like, I mean, they're literally living the dream, right?
Yeah.
I think they're going to have more from those kids. I mean, that kind of talent.
Maybe it's a fake breakup. This is part of their strategy, and they'll be back.
Yeah. That's what I said. I said, maybe they're doing a Slint. Like Slint makes like great albums, and then boom, they're gone. And it's like, what? Yeah. And then Slint is just legendary lore, from Kentucky. But is booking tours the same that now in 2026 as it was like in 2006, like 20 years ago? Like, is it the same?
I don't know if it's the same. I think it's probably harder at some level. I'm a small guy, but I know that the cost of touring has skyrocketed. So many bands are kind of getting priced out of touring, where the guarantees for the artists are kind of staying the same, but all of their costs are going up. The cost for the venue, the bus, all these things. So there's no money in it, or much less money in it. So it's almost like, why do we even tour? So it's a unique thing. And that's where I go back to just being lean, being scrappy, and going and playing a house show for 25, 30 people in 10 cities with just your acoustic guitar, probably more financially viable than trying to take a band on the road these days. It's a unique deal. But in my opinion, my goals and strategies are just building around Missoula, Montana, and just playing this region. I don't have any huge desire to tour the country, but I have shows booked around Montana, and I'd like to play the Northwest and just this region. But I also like being home for dinner, you know, so
Yeah.
it's a weird deal.
And that's another thing. A lot of people have families now and want to be like they don't want to be on the road all the time and miss their kids growing up and stuff like that. And
For
so
sure.
I get that. And so sometimes I think maybe that does make it easier. Social media can make it easier that you can get your music out there in front of people without having to leave your family.
Yeah.
But then again, that's really hard too, because then you've got to break into algorithms and stuff. Like, not everybody can be Enya. Like, Enya just
Yeah.
puts out records, lives at her castle in Scotland with, I
Yep.
think she's got like 20 cats, never tours, but one of the biggest recording artists of all time. Like, we can't all be Enya. But
And yeah,
I think
I have
that,
to look up Enya's castle. That's funny.
I mean, she just, it's a, like, I get it. Like, I totally get it. Like, if I could go live in a castle with 20 cats, I probably would, right? I've
Yeah, if I
got
could
like
be Enya,
7
I
now,
would. That's great.
right?
I think there's something too about there's almost this bad rap about having a day job in music too, and something that I've come to terms with and actually really enjoy is having a day job that's completely separate from music that I also really enjoy but pays my bills. So I have
Yeah.
zero pressure. I have zero
Yeah.
pressure to do anything that I don't want to do, which is
Yeah.
great. So I only
Yeah.
take
Yeah. Yeah.
gigs that I want. I don't play I don't play a Tuesday night 11 p.m. gig for no people. I only go play shows if it's the right fit for me. If the
Yeah.
pay is right
Yeah.
or if it's the right crowd or if it's the right
Yeah.
community that I want to be involved in. But if I don't want to do it, I just don't do it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of nice. And to me, that's a sweet spot where, obviously I'm not a full-time musician in that sense where music is not my day job, but very
Yeah.
intentionally so where I have my day job set over here in this bucket. So music is
Yeah.
just completely fun. I kind of only just do what I want. I go write
Yeah.
with buddies in Nashville, go record my songs with him. I come back, but it's completely for, it's what I want to do. And
Yeah.
then the
Yeah. Yeah.
shows that I'm booking, like I have 2 or 3 shows this summer, but I don't have some crazy tour. I
Yeah.
want to be home. I want to be with my boys and my wife at home and sitting on the river here. So I'll go play when I want, where I want, but then I'm home. It's great.
Yeah. But hopefully if they build that music venue on
Yeah.
on that property, I mean, maybe that could turn into like a Pappy and Harriet's, which
Yeah.
is a very cool kind of desert community
Yes.
vibe around music. Like, everybody loves playing there. Everybody loves seeing shows there. And it's like it's not one of these, like, big shiny LA type of venues, but not a bad word is said about Pappy and Harriet's because it's very community driven, it feels. And Casbah was very much like that, very community driven. I mean, more
For sure.
glitzy obviously than, it has a more urban feel, but I always view Casbah as kind of our CBGBs
But yeah,
on the West Coast
for sure. It's
because
it's crazy to
Tim
hear.
has meticulous taste.
It's amazing. And it's crazy how many times I hear Casbah come up on podcasts that I listen to with musicians. I think even with the Pumpkins recently, I was listening to Billy's podcast and he was talking about their first Casbah show. And so
That was
it's kind of
I
this
think that was the one that I was on with him. Like, he invited
cool,
me on his podcast and
cool.
we talked about Casbah because I remember we were driving in San Diego once and I was like, "Oh, there's Casbah." He's like, "That's not the Casbah that I played at." Like, he remembered. And so, like, he told me that story. And then when he had me on his podcast, he's like, yeah, he's like, and he told the story and he's like, it was like the first Casbah was like 80 people max,
Mm-hmm.
tiny little stage. And, some of our like, I think Mitch was at that show. There's like a lot of, San Diego people were at that show. But
Yeah.
it's cool that he has that memory of that. Yeah, because Casbah
So
is
cool.
kind of an unforgettable place. Like, I
Unforgettable.
saw so many
What's your
memories are
what's
tied
your
there.
what's your number one Casbah show? Can you even list your top show ever?
It's so hard. Like, I mean, I've seen the Breeders there a million
Cool.
times. Like, I got into the Breeders before I got into Pixies. Like,
Cool.
I loved, like, I heard when I first heard Cannonball, I remember where I was the first time I heard Cannonball. I was driving. I lived at the time right next to Jack Murphy Stadium. And I'll always call it the Murph. I'll never call it Qualcomm.
Murph.
So I lived next to Jack Murphy Stadium, like literally there was a back gate and I lived next to that back gate, which was awesome at the time because every year they had the 101 KGB Sky Show. And I can literally sit on my balcony and watch the whole thing and hear everything. When Pink Floyd came to play, I could be at home, not be around any crowds, and I could listen to the whole thing. So I was driving when I heard Cannonball the first time. And so I went to go see them, and such a show. Like, first of all, Kim Deal, cool as fuck. Like, cool as fuck. Like, just a nice person. Like, just seeing her smile as she played, you could tell this is a person that doesn't take herself too seriously, that's having a good time. As a female that was into music, that was so important for me to see. Like, and nobody's catcalling her. Nobody's like saying, show us your tit. You know what I'm saying? Like, there wasn't, people respected her. And I thought that was so cool. So I would say that The Breeders was like one of my favorite shows. And I remember, because this was back in, I was stupid back then. Like, I smoked, and you could smoke inside a Casbah at the time. And I remember that mid show, like, I was in front and she like asked for a drag of my cigarettes, so I gave it to her. I was such a stupid kid. I was like, after, and then she gave it back, and I'm like, then I kept that cigarette butt forever, right? And like later on, we were outside, and she's like, do you have another cigarette? I'm like, yeah. So I just sat, outside of Casbah, like just around the corner there where you could sit, and just talking to Kim Deal. And then some dude came up and he was like smoking a joint. And he like passed it to her, and she passed it to me. She was the first person ever to offer me weed, which is funny. Like, she just passed the joint over to me. But I was such a straight edge square kid. I'm like, oh no, thank you. No, I'll just smoke on this cancer stick instead, because that's so much better for me. But I saw Shonen Knife a bunch of times there. Key, which is David Yao from Jesus Lizard, his other band. God, so many shows though. Red Cross, just memorable shows. But even some of my most memorable shows are just like local bands. Like, I used to love to go to see Dan Dasher with Eradio. Eradio was a great band to play. Like, I love Dan Dasher too, because there wasn't a lot of guys of color, right, fronting bands. And Dan was just so good, man. And Dan like always had a smile too. Like,
so nice.
One of the nicest people like you'll ever meet. Like, he's currently writing some stuff right now too. Like, I'm super excited because, everybody, this happens. People have kids, and we stop doing, even for me, like after I had Angus, there was a period where I didn't listen to music for like such a long time because my focus is on, and then, I got a divorce. So I'm a single mom. I'm raising my kid. I didn't have time to do all that other stuff. And then COVID came. And a lot of people, obviously COVID was awful for a lot of people, like the number of people that died, a lot of people got sick. But for me, it was fantastic because it was almost like a reset. Like, all of a sudden I'm home, which, well, I was home anyways. Like, in terms of that, like, there was no effect on me. Like, I was always home. But now, like, I got to be home and not feel guilty about being home like all the time because like I was constantly turning down people all the time. Like, yeah, I don't think so. They invite me to stuff. I'm like, yeah, can't commit. Like,
quarantined.
But now this is like, okay, like now I can't go out. And I started just listening to music again. And then my kid was sharing like, oh, this is what I'm listening. And he started making these playlists, and the playlist that he made just kind of blew me away because I was not expecting it. Like, when he was maybe 10, I gave him my old brick iPod that had like, I think it was like 120 gigs, right? And so like I had, I don't know, almost 25,000 songs on it. Like, so, because a Napster. And it wasn't like I downloaded like full albums from Napster of stuff, but I like had a lot of, what I got from Napster was bootlegs, like of live shows, because I couldn't go. Like, so when Napster came out, I'm like, oh, I want to hear this band live, but they only play in Europe. They're not coming. So like I had a lot of that kind of stuff. And so I just gave them that.
So
And
cool.
so when he came back later and he's made these playlists and it's got songs on there and it's like, it's got Smiths on there, it's got The Cure on there. And I'm like, whoa,
Cure is so
that's
good.
right.
The Cure is one of
there's
those
something
bands,
for everything.
Yeah. Yeah, the Cure is one of those bands that they're so ubiquitous, but you forget how good they are. They're one of the best bands ever, The Cure.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that song, The
I mean,
Forest? What's their song, A Forest by The Cure?
A forest.
That might be one of the best songs
Yeah.
ever.
Right? I just reposted that the other day, just like a clip, like somebody had it. And I'm like, I don't care how many times I repost it. I'll just always repost it because that song, man. But I also love The Cure because there's and I love this too about bands that are able to do this, because not every band can do this. They can write any kind of a song. And I kind of feel like you're this type of a songwriter too, which is why I'm a fan of you.
Thank you.
Like I always say, I'm a fan of Hollywood, and that's my nickname for you, and it's always been my nickname for you. And you just asked me why finally, like for the first
You have
time.
to tell that story now. That's so funny.
So I don't know why I maybe misread it. Maybe I didn't have on my reading glasses that day or something, but I thought the first time I saw it, and this is like almost 20 years ago, the first time I saw your name, I thought your name was Brian Hollywood. And I'm like, and I said to Martin, I'm like, dude, that's such a good name. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, dude, that like, if that's like his real name, dude, like he's destined to become like a star. Like that's such a good name. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Brian Hollywood. He's like, who is that? I'm like, Blackout Party. He's like, dude, that's not his name. And I was like, what? Yeah. He's like, that's not his name. And I'm like, oh, I've been calling him Hollywood forever. And he's like, dude, it's not even his name. And so that it's just, I just always called you Hollywood. And because I always thought like, dude, he's a star. Because in my mind, you have to understand, it's because I feel like I said, the bands that can write any kind of a music or any kind of a genre, to me, like that's a true songwriter. Like if you can write a song like A Forest and then write a song like Friday I'm in Love, or write a song like Caterpillar, which is like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, he could do and you know, even a lot of people don't like him for reasons that don't have anything to do with his music. But like when you look at the team of Johnny Marr and Morrissey, they can write all sorts of songs too. When you look at Pumpkins, like I remember when Melancholy came out, a lot of people kind of music people thought, who does he think he is to do a double album? Like he thinks he's so great he could do a double album, instead of going like, look at all the various types of songs that they could do there. They could do a beautiful, beautiful song and then do like this total hard rock metal inspired type song. Like, to me, that's amazing. And Cure is like that, you know?
Corgan doesn't get enough credit as a guitar hero. I know he's so good at the guitar, and he just doesn't get talked about, I think, enough as so good at the guitar. And you see him play, and he's virtuoso. Obviously, the songwriting, so many great songs, but he can play the guitar.
Yeah. He's also a very underrated bassist. A lot of people don't realize that he writes all the bass. So when you're listening to the, you know, and people were more hung up on that false narrative of like, oh, Darcy recorded all the bass and then he went in and re-recorded. You know, like I think they've used that with Kurt and with Dave Grohl, like Nirvana kind of stuff, that stuff gets re-recorded. And it's like, well, that's not necessarily the truth. The truth is like he has a vision in mind of, you know, what he wants to write, and he writes it down. And I've said it a million times. He's such an underrated bassist because people are still stuck on the Darcy thing, right? They're just stuck on, well, she wrote the bass, or it was like, no, but he's not going to discredit her either. And he'll say, even to this day, that what was so good about Darcy was that she could bring a lot to the table in terms of music knowledge and say, I like this or that, but maybe not have the chops or skills to write the way that he wanted it. But if he said, okay, like this, and then take it and do her own thing, you know.
Interesting.
But yeah, like he's
the guy,
I definitely think I think he's a definitely underrated guitarist.
Vision. He's a musical genius. I mean, he had the whole vision, so makes sense that he's recording the bass parts too. I think people sometimes get a bad rap for that, but I also think don't dilute the vision by not recording the bass. He has it in his head. Just do it.
Yeah, if you have it in your head, and like I said, it's been such an honor to be able to see that process. Like I've been able to be in the studio. Like I was in the studio for a lot of Zeitgeist, and to see him and Jimmy
Cool.
work together is immediately you understand the magic of the Pumpkins. Like
Yeah.
they don't even need to necessarily talk to one another, like, or they could just say, you know what I'm looking for, and one will mention this one song, and then they immediately know what it is about the one song, the part of the one song that they like they don't even have to mention where in that one song. They would just say, you know, this song, and then immediately they know what part that they're speaking. The other doesn't have to speak. And it's like, I mean, and Jimmy, again, he's a person that I think is one of the most incredible drummers
Yeah. He's
of our
a bad man.
generation.
He is.
Yeah.
He's so good.
And also generally like one of the nicest people in like just one of the nicest people, like honestly, truly, just a good soul. But going back to your album, do you find that, like I said, you live in, it's like, it's heaven. Like I literally drool over your pictures because I am a person that the older I get, and Marty, we were talking about this the other day, me and Marty, like the older we get, we don't like people. We're just,
I can relate.
we're just like I love humanity as a whole. Like I love humanity as a whole, but peopling is, and it's gotten worse. I would say over the last 20 years, it's gotten worse, especially because there's I guess people are not as open-minded, or there's like a lot of people are just so set in a certain belief about, it could be about anything, that it's you can't have sometimes conversations because it's like, even the other day there was like back to this Nancy Guthrie case that I'm not usually obsessed about true crime, but it's like this 84-year-old woman was kidnapped from her home. And how is it in 2026 that we're like, I think 68 days into it now, and there's not a single clue? Like, you got the guy on a Ring camera. And so like, I'm fascinated of this in the sense of like, I don't understand. Like there's cameras everywhere. Like Big Brother's watching, right? Like that's what you guys keep telling us, that Big Brother's watching. So what happened here? So I remember I went on a Reddit site just to ask some questions like, you know, was there this? Could it be this? And man, just even asking a question, I'm like, well, I said, if she had on her Apple Watch at the time, can they look at the data? If she was sleeping with it on, maybe when they grabbed her, it would register like a spike in her heartbeat. It was just a simple question, right? And I got downvoted. I got talked down to, and people were like, who sleeps with a watch on at night? Like people charge their watch at night. And it's like, well, not everybody, right? There's, even if one person does it, I'm just asking, could they look at that? But people were just like, no, like this is how I think. And if you don't think how I think, you're wrong. Right? Like this is a lot of mentality of people today that I'm just like, and so I just like deleted the question. I'm like, I'm not even going to fight with these people. I just backed off. I'm like,
That's
not going to go there.
That's what's wrong with people. And I think it's a lot of the social media. And I think it's people just doing this all day that they've changed. And it's, you know, I don't want much to do with it. And I think it's changed how people interact. So for me, coming out here was sort of a conscious decision for my wife and I to just kind of leave all of that and just be very isolated intentionally.
Yeah. I'm so, you don't even know how jealous I am. Like I look forward to your posts.
Cool.
Just in case that you might have some of that beautiful Montana in the background. Cause I'm just like, and let me ask you a question. It's called Paws Up.
Paws Up is the name of the ranch.
Now,
like a paw,
like a bear's paw. Like, okay. When I saw Paws Up, I also thought like maybe it's like a dog ranch too. And I'm like, oh, that would be awesome. Like people can bring their dogs.
That would be awesome. We're very dog friendly, but it's a people ranch mostly.
Yeah.
The name came from the owner, saw her dogs so comfortable, like going paws up and she wanted the people to feel that comfortable. So it's kind of a fun name based around that. It's cool to be part of a place this unique and huge, but it's also a small business at the end of the day. We're a family owned business. We're female owned. So our owner Nadine is awesome. She lives here too. So it's this unique mix of, we found the sweet spot of this huge dreamland out here. Our owner's awesome, supportive of all this musical tie-in. It's really unique, but we're not a dog ranch.
Yeah. Well, I just thought it was because there's this person on Instagram, and she does basically, she goes and rounds up, or people, I don't know if people bring the dogs to her or she goes and picks up these dogs, but she just takes all these dogs out in the wilderness. Like sometimes she's got 20 dogs, and they're all from different families, and she takes them out for the day, and they go through the river, they go foraging, and she's able to control them. And because she understands the pack mentality of like, if she's the leader, they'll follow her, and they do. And so I kind of thought that at first, the first time I saw that you were up, I think it was in the location or something, it said Paul's Ranch. I'm like, that's what he does now? Like, I thought you were doing what this lady does. I'm like, that's a dream job. I'm like, that's a dream job. Like, I can't even imagine a better job than that. You get to go play in a river all day with a bunch of dogs, and go swimming and go bike riding with a bunch of dogs following you through the wilderness. Like, could it be better than that? And then I found out it wasn't, but I still wondered, like, are dogs allowed on there? Maybe somebody should do that, like on that
should
ranch.
Do some dog wrangling. We definitely allow dogs, and there's definitely tons of dogs around. Guests bring dogs here, but it's not not just dogs. That would be really cool.
Are there horses on the ranch?
Yeah, we have 120 horses right now. We have a herd of bison, so we have buffalo. We have over 100 buffalo, over 100 Black Angus cows that we sell for beef. And we actually, I'll tell you about Tyrone. We have a half bison, half cow, and he's called a beefalo, and his name's Tyrone. And he's awesome. I'll have to send you a picture of him. Just got my latest really cool. tattoo is the bison. That's my latest. But yeah, the bison they're a little cranky. They're not a nice animal, but they are beautiful to look at.
Majestic, right? Just super, super majestic.
I mean, and I'm going to send you a picture of Tyrone, because somehow he's like 30% bigger than the bison somehow. So he was I'll tell you his story really quick. He was an accident. A bison got into the cow pen and had a little fling with one of the cows. And so he was an accident. So he's a beefalo, but because his mom is a cow, he thinks he's a cow. So he only hangs out with the cows. So he will not hang out with the bison. But he's this giant, absolute unit, huge animal hanging out with all the cows. And he's hilarious, but he's very, very muscular and a giant animal. You do not want to get near him.
Wow. So not tame at all. Like totally wild.
Well,
wow.
I think he was 300 pounds when he was born, and our ranch manager bottle fed him as a baby, like with a baby bottle. So he's one of the only ones that can get close to him. He's he'll give you that side eye, that look, and like, back off. It's time to move.
See, like I said, I'm so jealous because like I see a lot of people have hobby farms also, like on IG, and I keep like telling Angus, I'm like, I think I'm gonna have a hobby farm.
Get some chickens. You could get some chickens, maybe a goat.
I got a next door neighbor, like one of his chickens did fly in here to escape a python. Like it can't fly, right? But oh my God, yeah, we got pythons. Like,
can we talk about the animals in your area? Do you have big snakes? Pythons?
So I guess recently, the most recent one was a baby python that was in the front, and we've had some big pythons in the back. We have water monitor lizards that come that are like, they look like baby Komodo dragons, which I love, but my mom like hates. And this is like in the city, and I'm like super excited every time I see them, and they're totally scared of me and Angus because we're so excited. We're like, oh, there's a monitor lizard out here, and we come out and we're like trying to take pictures of him and talk to him, and we're like, "You're so handsome," and he's like backing off, like, "Oh, right, scary, weird people."
My God.
I love that. The things I don't like are there's like huntsman spiders that are like the
Yeah. No,
size of your fist, and I used to hate spiders when I was young
I don't like them.
just because I was terrified of spiders. And then when working as a teaching librarian, like it was kind of it was so cool. We brought in animals like all the time because we're living in Thailand. Like we had squirrels, we had crows, we had everything. And so then I'd teach the kids like basic animal first aid. We'd have an after school club to teach them. I'd teach them like first aid on animals, like so they could take it home. They got me into liking spiders because we found a jumping spider and I was like, eh.
You would
But
bring a
then
Did you bring a huntsman spider into the school?
not well. There was a huntsman spider one time in the library. Not huntsman spiders, but we had snails. Like we got really into snails, and I was not a big person on snails. Like like children, and you'll know this. You have two boys. Children can really reshape your brain thinking. Like, because I was afraid of snails. I was afraid of geckos.
Geckos.
But the kids one day came to me and they were just like, there's murder being committed in the front of the school. And I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, Miss Lisa, you need to go help. There's murder. And I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, snails are being murdered. And I'm like, by who? They're like, our parents are driving over snails. And I'm like, why? They're like, because they're in the road. And I'm like, I don't understand what you're. So the kids took me out there and we found that in the mornings when it was early before like the majority of kids came, as the groundskeepers was watering things, the snails would all come out. Just at the time, parents were dropping off kids. So snails were getting run over. So they were saying, can you save a snail? And so I was thinking it was going to be like a snail from California, just like a snail, right? And I'm like, yeah, sure, let's save the snail. They go and bring me back 22 giant African land snails. They're this big.
No.
They can get to be this big.
No way.
And so suddenly now I have 25, almost 25 giant African land snails. But then we learned everything about them. And they're fascinating. And like, it was super fascinating. And then one day, like, there was a gecko and it was like stuck to the wall and it was stuck. Like somebody had put like double stick tape on a wall and then removed the double stick tape. And, it still has that sticky residue. And a gecko crawled over it and was stuck. And kids came in, they were crying. They're like, his little feet are stuck. I'm like, and I was terrified of lizards at that point in time. I'm like, what do you guys want me to do? They're like, you need to get it off. He's going to die. And he was cute. Like he looked really cute. Right. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Right. And
I want to rip his feet off.
You don't want to rip his feet off. So like I had to get a soft pencil and like tiny foot by tiny. It took 2.5 hours. But by that time I was told after that, I was like, totally. Now I can just grab a gecko. Like I see a gecko in the house. I just grab him and I take him outside and I'm like, you'll be much better outside. But like kids can rewire your brain. Like it's fantastic. It's such a so much fun.
So it's fun here. A day off, we go down to the river, we're catching snakes. That's like their favorite hobby is they just want to go on they call it a snake walk. So we'll walk down to the river, we just walk around, we catch snakes. And that's like the best hobby. So we're not watching TV, watching tablets, we're just outside. It's a blessing to be able to raise little kids in this environment. And that's a big reason why we want to be here. It's really neat. I have a question about your area. Do you have, going back to animals, do you have crocodiles where you live?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. And so much so, and this is a crazy story. In 2011.
Like saltwater crocodiles?
There are saltwater crocodiles. There's also saltwater monitor lizards that also go into the ocean. But no, this is crazy. In 2011, there was a massive heavy rainfall that year in Thailand. And in Bangkok, we have like 52 districts, sub-districts within Bangkok, and 49 of them were flooded at the time. Like heavy flooding. And there are crocodile farms out on the outskirts of the city.
Not
And
good.
because of the flooding, the waters rose
Guess
and the
what?
crocodiles went over the fence and swam out. So, and then they were just everywhere. So people were opening their front doors and there was flooding, but there's also a crocodile. There were crocodiles like on the main highway, like because the highway flooded and they just swam. There were crocodiles everywhere. It was kind of
Crocodiles are
crazy.
crazy. That is,
Yeah.
I can't live where there's a crocodile. That is terrifying to me.
I mean, I never saw one during that time, but obviously, like during that flooding, there was I mean, some of the snakes came out during that time. Tons of water monitor lizards, because the water monitors like live most of the time in the water, but they will also go out into the ocean at times as well, and that's the same with the
Fascinating.
crocodiles here. Yeah, so
Wow.
it's super. Like to me, Thailand is a wonderland too. Like even the other day, I'll send you a picture because you'll be blown away. Like I found a heron outside my door, big giant heron
Those
that
are
I don't
awesome.
even know where he came from. And I was like, and he was a baby, he was a youth, and he couldn't fly. I think he fell from a nest. I'm like, the hell? I've got a heron. Like I got a heron going on here. And he was like covered with like bird mites and stuff. So I just gave him a bath. He totally knew what I was doing. I blow dried him. I called the wildlife people. I'm like, come get the heron. They came and got the heron. So he's like on a
I want to see
sanctuary
a
until
picture of
he's
that.
old enough. Yeah, I'll send it to you. And he was just, and I sent the picture to Marty at the time. I'm like, I'm just staring at him in awe because I've never been this close to a bird like this. And he was just gorgeous, right? Just gorgeous. And I'm like, I don't want to leave this. Like, I can't imagine leaving any of this. Like, this is so
Yeah,
lovely. I want to ask you about your boys. How old are
yeah.
they now?
They're 7 and 4. Odin
What a
is
great
7.
age.
Waylon is 4. They're awesome. He's about to turn 5, so they'll be 7 and 5 in another month or two. And they're just great ages.
Such
They're just
great ages.
2 little boys obsessed with tractors and machines and
Yeah.
construction equipment and catching snakes
Yeah.
and all the outdoor wild little boy stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they're going to have such a great upbringing because of that. I mean, I think that's such a great foundation. Have they expressed kind of any interest in like playing music? Like your 7-year-old, do you sit and play with them, or does he
Yeah.
ask? Has he asked you like, "Hey, can you teach me?"
Not like that yet, but they're both very musical in some ways where you can tell like when a song comes on, they're tuned in. You can tell they're either like playing air guitar or like singing along in tune. So there's
Yeah.
some like early signals that I think they're going to be musical, but we don't want to
Yeah.
force it and just put them in lessons. It's letting it be a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
flowy and organic.
Organic. Yeah.
I'm more focused on just giving them a good life here and letting them, if they want to pick up a guitar, cool, but kind of just letting it be. When I started playing, my dad just put a guitar in my room but
Yeah.
didn't put any pressure, and it just sat there for a year, and he waited
Yeah.
for me to say, "Hey, can you show me something?" And then he started teaching me. So I think I'll do the same
Yeah.
strategy with them of just, "Hey, it's available, but it's up to you."
Yeah. So Darkwing Bird that's the first, I would say, the first single, and you've got some other songs coming out.
Yeah. I kind of have it mapped out in my head of just one song at a time every 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. And then it gives you a chance to kind of like stretch out the storytelling behind it. It's kind of how I look
Yeah.
at it is, obviously content as,
Yeah.
is king, whether or not it's TikTok, I'm trying to avoid the TikTok thing. But just sharing stories of me around the ranch in different settings with the song playing in the background, and whatever I'm creating around each song, I want it to be authentic to just my everyday life around the ranch with the kids, riding an
Yeah.
ATV, just whatever's going on. So I end up just like batch filming a bunch of stuff with my drone or just as we're on walks. And then I have
I like your drone.
stockpiles of little clips. So I have 4 songs ready to go. I just put out the second one, Like a Shadow, and then I have 2 more coming. And then I'm going back to Nashville to record another 5 or 6 that I have written but not recorded. So the idea is like stretch it out so you can just keep keep going and not run out of runway.
Yeah.
And then I also have some basically like stripped down acoustic versions of each of these 4. So what I'm going to start doing is dropping an acoustic version in between, like Darkwing Bird.
Nice.
I've got an acoustic version of Darkwing Bird I can send to you, but I'll put that out probably next. So I'll kind of go back to the last single with an acoustic version, and then kind of keep ping-ponging back and forth between new song, acoustic version of the last song. So basically like 8 tracks of these 4, and then start releasing the next batch.
I mean, you're such in a great place that you could just literally, I don't know, turn on a camera at any moment outside and then just put it to your song day after day.
Fun is just sharing a clip of the river, or just the sunrise, or the northern lights. And it's just, there's infinite possibilities of just, I'm so inspired by it. So that's what I want to share. And it feels more authentic to just me and what I want to be doing, rather than trying to manufacture something. It's just like, hey, this is my backyard and here's my song. And it feels more genuine to me. So to me, that's a way that I feel comfortable approaching marketing or social media and all of that. And that's kind of how I've decided to do it. And it's also easier because I think that, in my opinion, that's the best way for an artist to approach social media, is just actually share your real life. I think there's probably a push towards authenticity and like less produced content, and just more like, here's a selfie of me walking with my song in the background. Like you said, probably gets more hits than some like well-edited CapCut video, because it feels more artificial or manufactured, like someone's trying to sell you something versus just sharing something. So there's a subtle difference there. So yeah, I'm just trying to share music, and it goes back to, I'd rather have 200 people that really like my song and are coming back to it than a bunch of people, a million people that just swiped past it really quick and I got a million clicks.
Like I totally appreciate those people, because like, even if like, and I've said this to Desmond, I'm like, even if we had 20 followers, I would still put out the same effort for those 20 people as I do now, because dude, if you came along for the ride, like, thank you. Like, that's awesome. Like, you're my bee people, like I love the bee people.
Bee people. That's a full circle. That's awesome.
I was born into the circus, but ran off to join a home. Two prisoners without a purpose, busting out and moving on. Somewhere down some old back road is where we'll find our peace. Gonna spend our time sipping homemade wine in the shade of that dogwood tree. Stepping out like a shadow, steal away without a word to some small town in Colorado. We'll send our cares on down a Gin Clear Creek like a shadow.